to join the Fever and what's special about this opportunity for you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm really excited. I had some stint there at Golden State and it was a great time. So yeah, went over, played with Australia, won a gold there, and that was great. So just to be back in the W and have another crack is really exciting. Really grateful for this opportunity here with the Fever and just excited.
A player who is in China, halfway across the world, received an incredible call from the Indiana Fever just weeks after she had destroyed them with clutch three-pointers. They signed former competitor Chloe BBY to a high-stakes 7A contract because their star player, Caitlin Clarke, was out due to injury, and the team's hopes of winning a championship were rapidly dwindling. However, this wasn't merely a last-ditch effort to cover a roster place. It was a calculated risk that exposed a covert scheme to address the team's most deadly weakness. The one thing that may make all the difference is this signing. The tale of how it occurred is much more bizarre than you may imagine.
Big news, breaking news, Chloe Bibby, who was recently on the Golden State Valkyries, has been signed to the Indiana Fever. This is not a huge surprise to me. I have mentioned it in multiple videos. She was doing really well with the Valkyries. I think she was only with them for about 5 games, while a lot of their players went over to Eurobasket.
This story starts in a hotel room in China, halfway across the world, rather than in Indianapolis, when Chloe BBY, an Australian forward, received the call that would alter her life. She was enjoying the wild life of an international basketball star.
The main thing I remember about Chloe was the fact that she could shoot. Right? That's the main thing I remember about her. Watching her games with the Valkyries, if y'all don't remember that, she was on the Valkyries. I think she played for the preseason and she got signed again, didn't play like 5 games. She finished with like 42% shooting from the 3. So she could hit, man. She could really hit.
Chloe Bibby, the newest member of the Indiana Fever, her fit and whether she's a long-term fit for the Fever remains to be seen. But on the surface, on paper, it makes a lot of sense because this is a team that has been in dire need of, in my opinion, of a stretch 4. And that is what Bibby, skill set wise, is capable of doing. We don't have a huge sample size to work with. Obviously, she had a short spurt with the Valkyrie.
She is managing her career abroad while acclimating to several time zones and cultural norms. The next time, she's being called up to play for the WNBA's most scrutinized and followed team. No time was available for processing, packing appropriately, or taking a flight back to Australia for a short break. She left everything behind, took the first flight that was offered, and started the exhausting trek to America. It felt like a haze because the action was so quick. An adrenaline-fueled frenzy of airports and jet lag. It is extremely uncommon to be willing to uproot your entire life in a few hours in order to try your hand at a 7-day contract. It illustrates the Fever's dire need for resilience and hunger. Additionally, it displays a player who has spent her entire career fighting for this moment. However, this wasn't only a haphazard addition to the roster. The Fever had witnessed her talent firsthand, and they discovered it in the most agonizing manner imaginable.
But I remember specifically her shooting. She was shooting that thing, man. She was stretching the floor, and the Indiana Fever needs that. They need somebody that can help stretch that floor, make it more dangerous at that perimeter, make the defense respect that perimeter just as much as they respect the paint presence, right? So she can help with that.
There were a lot of fans where the Fever are too slow. They want to play slow it down, grind it out basketball. Doesn't seem that way. Doesn't seem that way by the player they just signed and the messaging that is going across there. So that has to be reassuring for a lot of the fans. And Chloe Bibby seems to have a good head on her shoulders, a good attitude, and a good approach.
The Indiana Fever were unaware that Chloe BBY was auditioning for them just weeks prior to that momentous call. Playing under a temporary hardship contract with the Golden State Valkyries, she faced the team that would eventually become her home as she took the court. She completely set them on fire. She made critical three-pointers and dropped 12 points in just 24 minutes of play, leaving a lasting impact with her composed, seasoned confidence. Although she was their opponent, she was also solving their largest on-court issue in real time, right in front of them. The kind of audacious, brazen performance that causes a front desk to take note and mutter, "Why isn't she on our team?" It was one thing to score against them, but BBY provided the precise lethal weapon that was sadly absent from their arsenal. She wasn't merely trying to get a place on the Valkyries. Unaware of it, she was preparing for her future in Indianapolis.
Brianna Turner is over there collecting dust. We need somebody off the bench that can come in with some size and rain threes until Damaris Dantas' shot begins to fall, and we go out and we get one. Chloe Bibby. Last time we saw Chloe Bibby, she dropped 12 points against the Indiana Fever. Wait for it, in her WNBA debut. She shoots over 40% from the field. She shoots over 40% from three.
With all these Wave players, I kept saying there was one player that the Indiana Fever needed to sign, and today it happened. That's right, the Indiana Fever have officially signed Chloe Bibby. She showed up and showed out with all the teams that she was with in the preseason, especially with the Valkyries. And I kept saying she could spread the floor, she makes the three. She would be a perfect pickup for the Indiana Fever, except they took forever to sign her. So I was like, maybe they're not going to sign her.
Every opponent has been taking advantage of the fatal vulnerability in the Indiana Fever's attacking scheme. Defenses can collapse inward, erecting a wall around the hoop and stifling the attack when the amazing Aaliyah Boston dominates the paint. They have been in desperate need of a real stretch four, a player who can force defenders to be honest and drain threes from the outside, freeing up valuable room for everyone else. The missing component of the puzzle is Chloe BBY at this point. Her three-point shooting percentage during her brief appearance with the Valkyries was an astounding 42.1%. That is not only a good statistic, it is a game-changing one. The secret that might unleash the full potential of Clarke on the drive and Boston in the post is her ability to hit from deep consistently, turning a predictable attack into an unstoppable one. Even though her WNBA stats are remarkable considering how few minutes she played, they don't fully capture her personality. You have to consider what she was doing when she wasn't in the spotlight in America to fully see why her signing is such a potential game share.
Where were you when you got the news or got the call that the Fever were picking you up?
I was in China.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So
Yeah.
how quickly were you, like, in just scramble mode then coming over to the States, like pack a bag and go?
Well, yeah, I was already in, so I went from San Francisco to China, and so then I didn't really get to go back to Australia. So just from China, I was like, well, I already have some stuff packed, so then just come back over here, back to America. So yeah, it was good. It all happened pretty fast, but as I said, super grateful for.
Chloe BBY was secretly developing a covert resume as a global power before to rejoining the WNBA. She was dominating abroad, even though many American fans might not have recognized who she was. She wasn't merely a supporting player for Gorów Vaporski in Poland's top professional league. She averaged an incredible 20.9 points and 5.9 rebounds per game, earning her the title of league's most valuable player. Her numbers were even more impressive when she faced the top players in Europe in the coveted Euro Cup. 22 points, 2.2 steals, and 7.7 rebounds per game. These are not merely reliable figures. These are superstar-level numbers that demonstrate her ability to lead an offense and support a squad. She wasn't merely a role player awaiting a promotion. She was a true star, perfecting her art on the global scene in preparation for the day when she would finally be recognized. However, earning prizes abroad is one thing. A distinct ego and mindset are needed to fit in with a team that includes a megastar like Caitlin Clarke. The timing of this signing becomes extremely complex at that point.
Bag and go.
Well, yeah, I was already in, so I went from San Francisco to China, and so then I didn't really get to go back to Australia. So just from China, I was like, well, I already have some stuff packed, so then just come back over here, back to America. So yeah, it was good. It all happened pretty fast, but as I said, super grateful for the opportunity.
Does it still feel chaotic now that you've been with the team for a day, or do you feel like a little bit settled now?
I feel a little bit settled. I have had a lot of sleep, which is great, so I think I've got over the jet lag a little bit, so feeling good.
You had the chance to go and play against this Fever team.
Yeah.
What kind of your impressions then, and how do you feel like you can fit into what they do?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, really physical team, tough, fast-paced, and I like that fast, style. So I think that suits me a lot.
This decision is made at a time when the Fever are experiencing a great deal of uncertainty and circulating rumors. Due to a persistent groin injury, Caitlin Clarke is now out of commission, creating a huge void in the lineup and putting a great deal of strain on the other players. Meanwhile, former All-Star forward Brianna Turner, a veteran, has been noticeably gathering dust on the bench, raising awkward concerns regarding the coaching choices and internal dynamics of the squad. BBY enters this difficult situation by agreeing to a short-term, 7-day hardship contract, which puts her future in jeopardy. Is she merely a temporary fix to help them get through Clarke's absence? Or is this a crucial tryout for a long-term roster position? A move that might force another player out and indicate a significant change in the team's approach. Bivby is under constant scrutiny in this situation, with every minute of her play being examined. Coach Stephanie White, however, is not taking her integration lightly. Her plan is surprisingly straightforward and extremely clear.
I mean, it's a challenge always, anytime you're integrating, but I think at the position that she'll play for us, really being somebody that's in that stretch four, middle of the floor, there's not a lot of nuance to how we'll use her. We'll shorten the playbook a little bit, make it specific to ways that we can continue to stretch the floor when we put her on the floor with AB.
Today you had a rare practice.
So, that is pretty straightforward and simple from head coach Stephanie White. When you hear her say she'll fit in next to AB, which means it seems like the plan for Bibby is to play in Aaliyah Boston minutes, where of course Aaliyah Boston is playing a lot of minutes on the floor.
This was not an act of panic or desperation. Stephanie White, the head coach, unveiled a well-thought-out, nearly brilliant plan to swiftly integrate BBY into the team. She informed reporters that the playbook would be purposefully condensed for her, keeping it straightforward and focused on her strongest points. Her role is very evident. Do your best work and be the stretch for a game with Aaliyah Boston. Shoot the three while extending the floor. She won't be able to pick up a complicated system overnight. She is not expected to change her approach. Getting her on the court and giving her the tools to have an instant effect is the aim. This clarity indicates that the coaching staff has chosen a player who is a perfect tactical match and accurately identified their particular weakness. It's a shrewd, decisive coaching tactic meant to produce results right away. While winning a few games can be possible with a straightforward plan, championship teams are constructed on more than just tactics. They are based on chemistry and, in this instance, a mutual rivalry history.
Because I truly didn't see who could fit the Indiana Fever system that was available that hasn't already been taken by other teams. It did end up being kind of like the obvious answer, which is Chloe Bibby, who again, I think is a good signing. I don't think is going to change the landscape of the Indiana Fever basketball. I do like that she's young. I do like that she has young legs. I love that she does fit into a more modern style of basketball, 6 foot, plays outside of the arc. So I am very, 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 very curious to see how she does fit into the...
A forgotten past between the two musicians is what adds even more allure to this new collaboration. Caitlin Clarke and Chloe BBY were bitter rivals for years prior to their time as WNBA teammates. In the fierce, high-stakes world of Big Ten college basketball, Clarke's Iowa Hawkeyes and BBY's Maryland Terrapins squared off. They played against each other in fiercely contested matches in front of packed houses, each attempting to defeat the other. Their new partnership has an intriguing undertone from their past rivalry. Due of her prior experience and understanding of what it takes to compete at that level, Bibby has never been intimidated by Clarke's talent. With two fierce rivals teaming up for a single objective, a WNBA championship, that old rivalry is now being revived as a partnership. At the most crucial juncture, their paths from rivals in college to professional teammates have finally come together.
This is because of the Caitlin Clarke injury. However, remember, after the All-Star break, they do have some more cap space, so they could sign her to a rest of the year contract. I'm guessing what's happening is, one, when she was cut from the Valkyries after her hardship contract, but had some really good games and showed some really good positive things that any team would want. I'm actually surprised she hasn't gotten picked up. So my guess is that they think they want to sign her for the rest of the year, whether that means Caitlin's out or they just want a 12th person. Using this 7-day contract as a test to see how she does. They've got a couple of games coming up. We know Caitlin's out, at least she was out last night, probably still out for the weekend. We don't know a timeline on her return.
College rivalries and individual stats are one thing, but a championship attitude is quite another. This is an intangible trait. It must be built via intense competitiveness under pressure. And Chloe BBY isolates herself precisely at that point. She has been a vital member of the Opals, the Australian national team, for many years, representing her country with pride on the largest stages in the globe. She played a key role in Australia's victories in the FIA World Cup and the FIA Women's Asia Cup, when they took home bronze and gold, respectively. It goes beyond simply playing well. It all comes down to understanding how to prevail when everything is on the line. She is aware that winning do-or-die elimination games require selflessness, self-control, and unshakable calmness. BBY provides a significant dose of championship DNA to a young Indiana Fever club that is still learning how to win big games. A composed season presence that remains unfazed by the
If there's
major
somebody
events.
and Stephanie White's looking, Chloe Bibby get in there way before Brianna Turner. I think Turner's still going to be collecting dust. Why we kept her on this team? The optics. Organization can't handle the pushback after releasing Brianna Turner. We got to suck it up. We got to grind it out. We got to let her collect her paycheck and collect that dust. We got to have her keep the bench warm. Dantis's threes aren't hitting. Chloe Bibby, not as tall as Dantis, but if we run a small ball lineup with Natasha Howard at the 5, maybe we do have Chloe Bibby in there. With Michaela Timpson at the 5. Maybe we can do that. Maybe we can have Timpson get some more minutes, giving her the 5. Chloe Bibby in there, Sophie Cunningham in there, Lexi Hull or Kelsey Mitchell in there with Ari McDonald in.